Good morning, everyone, and welcome to our webinar on family engagement with the New Jersey Parent Teacher Association, NJPTA. Keep in mind, throughout the presentation, we'll refer to NJPTA. We're thrilled to have you here with us today as we explore the vital role that family engagement plays in our schools and how the NJPTA is working to support and strengthen these relationships. Whether you're a parent, educator, or community member, your involvement is crucial in shaping a positive and inclusive educational experience for all students. But before we go ahead and get started, I'd love to know who's in the room with us today. Please type in the chat if you're a parent, a community member. Please let us know who you are, where you're coming in from. We love to acknowledge you. Also, throughout the presentation, if you could just give us some hearts and some likes and acknowledge that this content that you are hearing resonates with you, speaks to you. We love that's a good way and a good indicator for us to know that you're enjoying the webinar. So, who do we have here today? Let me check the chat. Okay. All right. Welcome, Patricia. Happy to have you here. Welcome, Alma. Welcome, Naya. Family Partners of Hudson County. Wonderful. Welcome, Rosa and Maria. We're happy to have you here. Welcome, Denise. Welcome, Brandy. Glad you're here with us today. And you're going to see throughout the webinar, our Family Engagement Hub team will be engaging with you. So please be sure to keep these engagements going throughout the webinar. So I get the privilege and the honor to welcome our guest that's going to be co-presenting this webinar with us. I'm going to start off with Miss Sharon Roseborough. And I'm going to first welcome her, and then I'm going to read her bio. So Sharon, you want to come off on mute and just say hi to everyone?
Hi, everyone, and thank you for inviting New Jersey PTA to this family engagement webinar. This is something that is near and dear to me and is a heart of PTA in our advocacy work. Without the support of parents, family members, teachers, and community members, there would be no family engagement. I actually became involved in PTA through my older sister. I was one of those parents who did not get involved. I had young kids at home, and my sister told me I was going to join the PTA. And of course, you always listen to your older sisters. And that was 23 years ago. So I am so excited that she made me do this. And I'm really excited about our collaborative efforts. And I look forward to our continued partnership. And please, 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 if you have any questions throughout this webinar, make sure that you ask us. See Andre Daniels, who is our family engagement chairman, will answer any questions that you may have regarding family engagement and PTA. Thanks again for having us.
Thank you so much, Sharon. And a little bit about Sharon. Sharon's commitment to education and advocacy spans over 20 plus years. It was through her involvement with her children that she first volunteered at a local PTA meeting during school year 2000 and 2001. She had no idea that meeting would spark a lifelong pursuit of advocating for children. Since her first volunteer role with Southampton Township PTA, she has held countless executive roles of increasing responsibility at the local, county, and state level, which culminated in her induction as the NJPTA First President of Color in April 2023. Sharon lives in Southampton with her husband, Charles. They have been married for 32 years and have 4 children, Deborah, Rachel, Nathan, and Khalid. Once again, welcome, Sharon. We're really excited to have you. Our next guest is C. Andre Daniels. Uh, C. Andre, do you want to unmute yourself and say hello to our audience today before I read your bio?
Sure. Good morning, everyone. And I echo the President Sharon Roseborough's sentiments. I am happy to be here speaking collaboratively on behalf of all of our children across the state of New Jersey. I'm even more proud to be here on this call this morning as a male member involved in advocacy of our children and youth across the state of New Jersey. I think many years ago it was passé for men to be involved. That it was the work of our mothers, our sisters, our wives. But more lately, we see more male involvement, and I'm proud to just be one of them. You know, one thing about men, we're very competitive, and we like to really be involved. Sometimes we just don't know that we should be involved. But when one is in the school, generally speaking, via the Backpack Express or the student telegraph, other men get involved just by hearing that, well, so and so's dad is involved. So let's get out there. Let's increase this male involvement. And enough about me. I'm really ready to get into it, and hopefully we'll have some really great forward-thinking, progressive questions how we can move this thing called family engagement forward. Thank you.
Thank you so much, CeAndre Daniels. Perfectly said. I do want to read your bio for the interest of the audience to know a little bit more about you. CeAndre Daniels presently serves NJPTA as its Family Engagement Chair and is a past member of the National PTA Board of Directors and former chair of the National PTA Resource Development Committee. He presently serves as a consultant to the New Jersey PTA. In addition, Daniels is the former executive director of the Boys and Girls Club of Burlington County. Daniels is the founder of NJPTA's Fatherhood Initiative for the NJPTA Chair Fathers Pride Initiative and West Hampton PTA. Major Daniels is a retired Air Force veteran, serving his 7th year as a committeeman on the West Hampton Township Committee. He's the father of 6 children, 5 daughters and a son, and the grandfather to 8. Once again, welcome, Major Daniels, and thank you for your service.
Good morning. And you know, two corrections. One, it says Mayor Daniels, and maybe I put J instead of Y. So I'm a former mayor of West Hampton Township. I wish I had retired as a major, but nevertheless, you know, I was part of the enlisted ranks. So that was one. And since that bio, I still have 5 girls and 1 son, but I'm up to 10 grandchildren now. And
My goodness.
those ten grandchildren are ensuring that I have job security as an advocate within advocacy.
Wow, that's fantastic. Thank you so much for sharing that. That's wonderful.
Thank you.
Okay, and now we're going to move over to the introductions of the rest of the FE Hub team.
Good morning. My name is Dr. Lanisha Makel-Ridley, and I'm the other co-project director for the Hub. I live in Parsippany, New Jersey. I'm a mom of 1 child. His name is Brandon. He happens to be in kindergarten, so he's 5 years old. And my favorite thing to do is read. So I'm currently reading a book called The Lovely One, and I'm so enjoying it. So you'll always see me with a book in my hand. And I'm sure we'll talk some more about some other interests that we have. And I will turn it over to Kim.
Hello and good morning, everyone. My name is Kim Rivers, and I am the training coordinator for the New Jersey Family Engagement Hub. I am a wife and a mom of 3, and I also enjoy reading. I enjoy being outdoors, and I'm really glad to be here. A little note about male engagement. My husband is actually the one who got me into every PTA meeting, is actually responsible for me working at SPAN. He was all about making sure that as a man that he was always engaged with his children and their education experience. So I'm really glad and grateful that you guys are all here. Thank you so much. And I'm going to pass it on to Tiffany.
Hi, everybody. It's Tara Semanek. Tiffany's not in the room at the moment. Um, I am the Southern Region Family Engagement Coordinator. I have three school-age children. I'm active on my PTA in East Hampton. I am the advocacy chair. I'm also the Special Education Parent Advisory Group's parent leader in East Hampton. It's just a pleasure to be here with you all today. Faith?
Good morning, everyone. My name is Faith Victor, and I'm the Northern Regional Family Engagement Specialist. My favorite thing to do is go on walks, but now that the weather is shifting and transitioning, it's a little harder, but I love going on walks, and thank you for having me.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Alexis Pratt, and I'm the Community Engagement Specialist, and my favorite thing to do is watch anime in my spare time.
So now that we've introduced ourselves, I want to talk about our organization, SPAN. SPAN is our parent center for the state of New Jersey. There is a parent center in every state. And our organization is about supporting families. So we provide information, technical assistance, resources. Our mission is to empower families and make sure that anyone who has any interest in the healthy development and education of children and youth, that we are providing information to them. We have over 45 programs that cover everything from education, health, mental health, human services, childcare, child welfare. We extend to over 40 national, regional, and local programs, and we are funded by government agencies, foundations, and fee-for-service contracts. So, of course, we encourage you to get onto our website, www.spanadvocacy.org. And now I'm going to hand it over to Anisha to talk about our hub.
So the hub was born last year. In October of 2023, SPAN received notification from the U.S. Department of Education that we were awarded the Statewide Family Engagement Center grant. We call the Statewide Family Engagement Center the New Jersey Family Engagement Hub. The hub recognizes that students thrive when families and communities are engaged in the school community because that increases the likelihood of our students being successful. Our goals are to promote and engage in activities and policies that build collaborative partnerships among youth, family, schools, and communities in order to enhance child development and student achievement. And we do all of that by being a centralized information hub, by providing information, tools, strategies, workshops to our educators, our families, and our community-based organizations. But we do not leave out our kids. So it is important to have the youth at the table and to hear their voice and what they need in order to thrive and be successful. And we do all of this through some of our webinars and our in-person trainings. So towards the end of this webinar, you'll hear some more information about further trainings and future trainings that we will have through the hub. And now I will turn it over to Jeanette.
Thank you, Anisha. Why family engagement? If you've been following our webinar installments throughout the year, we talk a lot in depth about the dual capacity building framework. This is a powerful approach used to support family engagement and education, particularly through school and community partnerships. This framework is central to fostering strong, sustainable connections between families and schools, ensuring both families and educators develop the capacity to support student success. Now, in the context of the New Jersey Parent Teacher Association, NJPTA, this framework can help guide efforts to engage families, strengthen partnerships, and improve student outcomes across the state. So at this time, to kick off, before we get into the weeds of family engagement, we want to strike a poll. And why do you think the PTA is important? You can either scan the QR code that you see on the screen, or the team will put in the link in the chat so you can participate in the poll. They want to get a sense of what you think is why the PTA is important. And as you start to engage in the poll, we will get the results relatively quickly on screen. So we're going to give you a couple of, I would say, we'll give you about a minute to participate in the poll. Thank you. Alexis, if we can just put the link into the chat. So it could be a little easier for those who do not have access to a phone at this time. Thank you. So why do you think the PTA is important? So it could be A, supports educational programs and activities. B, advocates for students' needs. Provides a voice for parents in school decisions. Raises funds for school improvement. Promote better communication between parents and school staff. Or all of the above. Okay, we see some folks are probably having some challenges to access the polling link, but we do see the chat and we see some great responses. A lot of the responses coming in is F, all of the above. Yeah, wonderful. So half of our audience says F, all of the above, and our other half is saying promotes better communication between school staff. Wonderful. We really appreciate you taking the time to fill out this poll because it gives us an idea of, what's your understanding of the importance of PTA. So now what I like to do is let's take a closer look at family engagement through this video that we're going to go ahead and queue up. Let's go ahead and watch.
National PTA, in collaboration with Johns Hopkins University's Evidence for ESSA, has launched Family Engagement Solutions. This website makes it easy to find proven programs that strengthen schools and communities.
Our greatest partner is the extension of a student, so our families. I see them as the most essential partner that we can have in an educational system.
Family Engagement Solutions makes it easy to find evidence-based programs that work in different communities and go beyond best practices.
If you are looking to reduce chronic absenteeism, one of the programs in Family Engagement Solution has done that by 44%. If you are looking to increase math proficiency, one of the programs is bringing 8 additional months of math growth for the kids of the families who are participating in that program. If you're looking to improve behavior in the school, one of the programs has shown to reduce by half behavior and discipline problems of young children.
We are all about evidence and capturing the data. We want to make sure that whatever initiative, whatever pursuit that is before us, we want to make sure that it is the right one for students.
The impact of these programs goes beyond statistics.
They really worked hard to make us feel comfortable, so that really inspired me. And seeing the change in my daughter, the behavior, the temperament, relaxing, calming down. And I learned a lot from the staff as well, some things that I was able to try at home.
When schools and families are in true partnership, we know that children thrive. They thrive in every area of their life: academic achievement, physical health, mental health and well-being. And so family engagement is important, but it doesn't automatically come naturally. People need support to do that.
Evidence-based family engagement programs help schools connect with families they have struggled to reach and give them the tools they need to help their children succeed.
We have constantly educators who are telling us, oh man, I thought, it was just a troublemaker. I thought it was just this going on. And then I went and talked to them and I realized there's more going on here. And there's just deeper ways that I can connect.
Family engagement solutions can be used to find detailed information about a program, including the ESSA rating, program outcomes, staffing requirements, and more.
It helps schools access that research in a reliable, readable fashion without forcing them to wade through all of the journal articles. This helps them get down to what are the nuggets, what do we know, what are we certain about.
I think a lot of teachers have been left to their own to figure out how to engage with families. And so I value the idea of having these programs in place that schools could peruse and look through and say, this actually fits my needs.
To learn more about proven programs that make families a part of the solution in any community, visit FamilyEngagementSolutions.org. National PTA.
And now over to our guest speaker, C. Andre Daniels.
Good morning again, everyone. So that was an informative video that we just saw, one that recently was played at another event that I was in, and it was very well received. You can see that video and other webinar videos or at pta.org if you should want to see that or view that. Want to get right into it. What are we talking about here with family engagement? Family engagement has been an integral part of PTA's mission since our founding back in 1997, when those venerable leaders thought it was important, particularly in the time of day, that our children should have a voice at the table, that our children, in fact, should have their thoughts, feelings, and their most intimate needs met at the education table across America. I think if we move this thing forward from a 2024 reality, real quick, just want to talk about PTA. What is the PTA? Well, we're the oldest, one of the oldest legacy organizations in America. Been around since 1897. Started by three venerable women: Selena Sloan Butler, Phoebe Everson Hurst, and there's a third name. Selena Sloan Butler, well, I'll get back to that a little later. Third name I cannot recall at this moment. Charge it to the head, not to the heart. Three venerable women who just thought that it was really important. The two organizations at one time was actually separated. There was the National Congress of Mothers and the National Congress of Colored Mothers. Realizing the necessity and the need to come together and move every child with the intention, one voice. Some years later, we joined and we became the National Parents and Teachers Congress, what is now known as the Parents Teachers Association. So just wanted to hit that, highlight that. You see the slide, you can read that. But more importantly, what I wanted to talk about is in the 2024 reality, what is transformative family engagement? What I like to just simply say that it's time to reimagine family engagement practices and policies for greater equity and effectiveness, and to apply these transformative family engagements across the continuum. So what is transformative family engagement? It is a shared effort of families, schools, and community leaders to advance programs, practices, and policies that empower every parent to make their child's potential a reality, pure and simple. My time with the Boys and Girls Club, part of our mission used to simply say, as stakeholders, it's our job. Matter of fact, it's our responsibility to enable and inspire every child, but particularly those children who may need us the most. Finding and reaching those children where they're at. And what does those children who may need us the most mean? Well, what those children who may need us the most is one of those questions that is simply transformative. and it's goes across the socioeconomic divide, whether you're at the high end or the low end. There are children out there that may need us the most, and that's where New Jersey SPAN and New Jersey PTA steps in. So I want to leave you with what is, for me, and at National and New Jersey PTA, what are the four guiding principles of transformative family engagement? Well, there are four things: inclusiveness, individualized, integrated, and impactful. Well, what do I mean? Simply, inclusive. Family engagement embraces and values diverse perspectives. That means that the school environment, that means that the local PTA is making sure that they're inviting everyone, all families, to be a part of what it's doing from an engagement perspective. Individualized. Family engagement meets the unique needs of every family and child. So the beauty about PTA is that while we're associated with the schools, we're self-governed, and we have our own local president, vice presidents who are in charge of individualized committees, and there's a whole hierarchy of government, if you will, within the PTA. So we're able to do things that normally schools can't by way of regulation or law. That's some of the versatility that PTAs are allowed to have. Integrated, the third of the four I's. Family engagement connects and aligns with the educational system. New Jersey PTA is a proud partner of the LEAD Group, Leaders of Educational Excellence, where there's a roundtable discussion every month that our president, Sharon Roseborough, and others participate with the leaders of New Jersey School Boards, Education Association, and other of the alphabet group of leadership in the state of New Jersey relative to education. Those folks sit around the table, and we talk about shared experiences. We talk about what is happening next, how we should be aligned to move forward. What should we be testifying on behalf of our children and youth at the Capitol? And the fourth I is impactful. Family engagement empowers families to support their child's success. The data is out there. We know how children succeed when our children are part of something greater, and they understand that their parents will hold them accountable, and they're part of the school day, the school month, and school year. I know that I just got a question. See if I can log on. Thank you. Can I go to the next slide? So we kind of already talked about the PTA's mission, that we're here to make every child's potential a reality by engaging, empowering families and communities to educate for all children. Parental involvement, empowerment on behalf of children and youth. When we were thinking about this webinar, and what was some of the information that we wanted to get out, Kim Rivers and I, in talking this over, one of the words that came to me was the word empowerment. If I think about family engagement from that perspective, I think empowerment is that thing that gives us the necessary. Well, we have the natural authority being parents, pure and simple. But from an empowerment perspective, advocating for our children, making sure that the principal, that the school community, the school board, the superintendents of schools, and just as importantly, those taxpayers in any given community know that we're there and what it is that we're doing. If I can go to the next slide, the difference between the different associations, PTA, PTO, and the Home and School Association. I thought this was an interesting slide, and from a PTA perspective, there's no competition here. The reality of it is PTA, PTO, and homeschool associations on any given day having all of the resources that we would all want, there are still going to be children that we know that we're going to miss. So I would just simply say that, the fact that there's a PTO and a homeschool associations out there, I salute them and commend them on their continued efforts to advocate on behalf of their constituency. But from a PTA perspective, being one of the oldest since 1897, recognized by many presidents, recognized by this Congress, recognized by the Department of Education, I believe that PTA has always had the necessary, if you will, bandwidth. I'll use that term, bandwidth, across the continuum of those in power to move on behalf of children. One of the most famous advocacy initiatives with PTA was 5 cents make sense for education. Well, we know that from a Department of Education perspective, Congress has never funded Department of Education to the extent that it has allowed. Those one of those things that we continue to work very hard on to make sure that our children are receiving every efficiency that they should be getting. As a father that's involved in PTA, I remember a long time ago, well over 32 years ago, my first foray into this was just simply by happenstance and accident. And I got involved simply because a mother dared to ask me, would I be part of a fundraiser? And I think that at first I kind of laughed and said, who, me? But what I learned from that day was it's in the ask. The art is truly in the ask. And, when we ask our parents to be involved, I think most will sign up real quick. As a father, I remember a long time ago that my wife and I, we said that we would have a few kids and probably have a whole lot of theories about what parenting was all about. And we both came up with that idea and that from that movie called Cheaper by the Dozen. The character, the mother named Claire, she said, well, a long time ago, we thought, my husband and I, we thought that we would have a few children and a whole lot of theories about parenting. Well, 12 years later, we have a whole lot of kids and absolutely no theories about parenting. I think from a PTA perspective, we're allowed to have that landing where not only can we be empowered, but we also have an opportunity to have some of the guidelines and some of the best practices that have been put together through tried and tested, theories and actual practical work being done across this nation. If I can go to the next slide. PTA values: collaboration, commitment, diversity, respect, and accountability. I think that those are all of the things that PTA stands for, and it's important that we have those core values as part of how we move. It's the thing that sometimes help us reinforce, well, why are we in a room? As a former school board member, 2 terms in the West Hampton school board system, sometimes we get down to the business of education. In the business of education, you can easily forget that what we're really talking about at the end of the day is our children, our youth, our kids, our babies, and how can we best move their agenda while in a shrinking economy of doing more with less. I remember some 32 years ago, we used to say do more with less, but in the 2024 reality, doing more with less has really become front and center. And how do we make it all happen? That's where the PTA New Jersey span comes in, because we're allowed to go out and partner with community members to make a whole lot of things happen that can happen within the school. So our values are those things that move us, that are important. And if anyone should have any questions on those, please feel free to put some questions in the comment section or ask when we have the question and answer section. Can I go to the next slide, please? And here we have it, the 6 values. Welcome all families. Communicate effectively. How are we getting our message out? Not only should the school be putting out messages, but through a partnership with the principal and the Board of Education and all of the leadership mechanisms that have natural authority, how do we get our PTA message out, via the Backpack Express and those announcements that naturally go out through the school system? That's that collaborative part, communicating effectively. Supporting student success. We know that when we are involved, the community is involved, our children achieve at a much higher rate. Speak up for every child. That's been a core element of PTA since I've been involved. Speaking up for every child with one singular voice. Learning how to share the power, moving across the continuum of the educational grid, not only locally, but regionally and statewide, and if not nationally, and collaborating with the community. Business partners want to be involved. Businesses are bombarded and hit from everybody from A to Z to give back to the community. I would simply submit that when you have an agenda, when you have a mission statement, when you have that agenda that simply moves the condition of the children and youth within a particular community, and you go and ask and you can articulate that, I found that they have been free to give. Over my years as the PTA president in West Hampton Township, and even with National PTA, I've been able to partner with a whole lot of partners, include Apple, Staples, Walmart stores, Wawa, for many of their discretionary gifts, not only just from an economic standpoint, but a lot of the items that they put in clearance and they at some point in time would just give away as donations, and we were able to turnkey that, and give that to classroom and to teachers to help them move their agenda. So those are the 6 standards of family engagement. I've kind of talked about transformative family engagement, and that shared efforts of family, schools, community leaders to advance programs, practices, and policies that empower every parent to make their child's potential a reality. I talked about the 4 I's of the guiding principles of transformative family engagement, which is being inclusive, being individualized, being integrated, and impactful. I think that pretty much expires my agenda and my part of today's webinar, but surely I'll be hanging around, and if anybody should have any question, when you give these webinars, your mind goes crazy and wild. After 32 years, I obviously have a lot of stories, but today's not the day to get all of those stories out on this webinar. But I do have some experience, and I'm absolutely willing and excited to always share. I don't know if it's permissible, but I'll be willing to give out my number and my New Jersey PTA email address should anyone have any further questions of me.
Mr. Daniels, we do have a question in the chat from Brianne, who says, why do some schools, for example, my daughter's school only has a PTO, no CPAG, no PTA?
So, I'm not going to say unfortunately, because I'm a card carrying PTA member. Sadly, well, that just happens to be the particular structure in your daughter's school that they have a PTO. It should be noted that some of the best practices of PTO come directly from PTA, that the gentleman who started and founded PTO was a card carrying, and I believe to this day is still a card carrying PTA member. That gentleman just thought that there perhaps was another way, if not a better way, that did not have the necessary regulations or structure that PTA had. So what could we do to, if you will, offer parents an a la carte way that they could just pick and choose and jump in wherever they choose to jump in and keep it moving, if you will, without the structure of having, without the structure, and I'm sorry, I lost you for a second. Without the structure of what PTA represents. What I would simply say at your next PTO meeting, stand and ask the question, why not PTA? And if if they're open to that question of why not PTA, surely you can get in touch with me or the PTA president, Sharon Roseborough, or just go to njpta.org, and there's an interest indicator there. Fill that out, and we would have a team that would be more than willing to come in and answer all of those necessary questions to perhaps move your PTO to a PTA.
That is fantastic. Thank you, Mr. Daniels. We appreciate your words of wisdom. And I'm going to now turn it over to Kim.
Thank you, Jeanette, and thank you, Mr. Daniels.
Thank you.
So now I'd like to direct our next slide to our educators. Any educators who are present, any teachers, what is your role in making sure that there is significant engagement, specifically with your local PTAs? If your actions inspire others to dream more, learn more, do more, and become more, you are a leader. And leadership is very important when it comes to family engagement with the PTA. So we ask educators, make sure that you are supporting PTA engagement. That means providing information to families about when those meetings are happening. Maybe put it on your district calendars, emails, even robocalls, and be present. That means show up to PTA meetings in person consistently so that families can see you modeling that leadership and that engagement, and they know that you're going to be present and they will therefore follow in suit. Communication with your PTA, make sure that your local PTAs have any updates that's happening throughout the school, whether it's policy, protocol, staffing, so that when PTAs have meetings with families, that the information that they provide is accurate. Training and development. Make sure that you are engaging and making sure that the families have options for training and development, so you can collaborate with your PTA and create a learning institute where you can build family capacity and give them strategies to increase that learning at home so that there is a generalization of those tools and those knowledge that they're receiving at school. Cultural responsiveness. Well, what does that mean? Educators, who are the families in your district? Find out who they are. And let's try to work with your PTAs to meet the needs of your families, because families are coming from many different backgrounds and different languages. So making sure that you are working with the PTAs to get input from all of those different families. Work to create school initiatives, create programs, be a partner, and making sure that your school PTAs are successful. Now, families, how can you engage more with the PTAs? Well, when it comes to partnership, remember that team means together everyone achieves more. So again, it starts with showing up, joining your meetings, making sure you know when they're happening monthly, making sure that you know about events and activities, staying informed. Participate, that means maybe getting on the board, filling positions, volunteering, showing up to meet the needs of any events, any activities. Become part of leadership on your PTAs. And even if you cannot show up to meetings, subscribe to newsletters. See when you can be available to participate in fundraisers, participate in activities, making sure that you are also showing up so that you can advocate for your child or any of the children's needs at the school. As parents, as family members, you are aware of what is happening. So you can utilize a PTA meeting to communicate any issues, any concerns, whether it's individual, whether it's systemic, making sure that you're advocating and being a voice for the children in your school. And when you advocate, you can give the PTA the opportunity to use their channels to help resolve, to help create policy, to help make sure that everyone is getting what they need. And when we say advocate for your own needs, well, what do you need? As family members, what are you looking for in your PTA? How would you like your PTA to work with you, whether it's resources, whether it's supports? As we know, it takes a village. So make sure that you are participating and engaging for the success of your children. And now I'm going to pass it over to Faith.
Thank you, Kim. Now we have the student's perspective, the student's role in NJPTA engagement. Christopher Morley once said, "There is only one rule for being a good talker. Learn to listen. It's better to listen than to speak. As my father always says, be quick to listen and be slow to speak." And that relates to the student's role in PTA engagement. So number one, communicate. Communicate with your parents and teachers so your needs are represented. This creates a great relationship and bond between students, parents, and teachers. Number two, participate. If asked, help support your parents, educators, and community to work on meetings and events to help you. Ask what you can do to support the PTA, the different ways you can volunteer and add support. Number three, encourage. Remind your family about upcoming and interesting PTA meetings and events that you hear about. Share with your family any interesting information you learned and gained to also encourage them to attend. People like to be helped. Number four, appreciate in positivity. The adults in your life are all working towards your success. Be kind to your family and your teachers whenever possible. It makes a difference. Be patient and extend grace to your family and your teachers as well. Everyone is doing their best. Make sure you're working as a team because teamwork makes the dream work always. Continuing on, the community's role in NJPTA engagement. Shirley Chisholm once said, "Service is the rent that you pay for a room on earth." One great way to give back to the community is by serving your community. Here are different ways to also serve in your community and give back with and for the NJPTA. Join your local PTA. Now, anyone is able to join. It's quick and it's easy. You can contact your child's school and ask to be in touch with the president of your local unit or the school's PTA teacher liaison. Visit the website, njpta.org, and click the tabs to join the Garden State PTA or your local PTA. It's an easy way of finding your school and filling out the information. If you have any questions, you can call or email the NJPTA provided on the website. Provide community resources. Identify the community needs. Promote events and offer resources that benefit and address families and children, such as clothing, medical, food insecurity, as well as resources and programs that align with schools, such as after-school programs and social services. For example, is a Thanksgiving season. Finding and sharing information about local food pantries, giving free turkeys, and Thanksgiving groceries and meals. Building family capacity. Provide family education workshops. Deliver training in areas such as literacy, health and wellness, or family finances to empower families. Serve as policy advocates. Serve as a liaison This is a great way to give back. Bridge communication as well as community between schools and underrepresented communities by providing culturally relevant resources and support.
So let's talk about the benefits of active involvement in the PTA. One of them is enhancing the educational experience for your student. So by supporting the PTA programs and resources, you have the ability to increase the access that your teachers, your school community have to things that are not funded by the school budget. A lot of PTAs raise money to provide supplemental resources to the school. Improved communication between parents and the school. So I know from being involved in the PTA at my son's school, the PTA has a better understanding of what the school needs are because the PTA fosters open communication between the parents and the educators and the parents and the principal. So that makes sure that everybody is on the same board as regards to the priorities and goals of for the students and for the school community. Creating better parent engagement and involvement. The principal comes to the PTA with some questions and concerns, and he or she gets the feedback from the PTA. So you're becoming involved in the decisions that are affecting your children in their school community. You're guiding the policies and the programming within your school. Community building. The PTA provides a lot of networking opportunities for parents. The PTA has parents from all grade levels involved, and you're able to share information and get the pros and cons about, which teacher or which classroom you want your child to be in. You get to gossip, all the things that us parents love. So community building is one of the key foundations of active involvement in the PTA. Advocating for students and schools. As I already said, as a member of the PTA, you learn about what's going on in the school. So you're able to lobby the school administration. You're able to lobby the district and the school board about the needs for your child's school and for the district overall. Fundraising and resource allocation. The PTA, through different activities that it hosts, provides extra funding for your school in regards to assemblies, field trips, different things that are needed in the school. Like I know my son's PTA, they raise money so that we can get a new PA system in the school. So there are certain things that the PTA can fund that the district does not fund for the school. As C. Andre Daniel said, there's just different things that the PTA can do because it does not have the regulations that a school district does. Leadership and professional development. The PTA allows for parents to take on leadership roles. So in every PTA, there's a president, there's a vice president, there's a secretary, there's a treasurer. So if you're interested in building your leadership skills and taking on some extra responsibility, you can take on some of these roles and guide your PTA within your child's school. Positive impact on school culture. The PTA promotes school unity and school spirit. They encourage having school spirit days. They sell, the spirit clothing so that kids and parents all take on the culture of the school and the school community. And they learn to have pride in their school. Support for teachers and staff. Teacher appreciation. The PTA provides support for teachers by organizing appreciation events, offering grants to teachers to build their capacity, and contribute to professional development opportunities. And last but certainly not least, influence on student success. That is what we're here for. We are here to make sure that our children are successful in school. So the PTA asks for increased student engagement. They provide activities that help students feel more connected with their school community and with the community at large. They improve overall engagement and enthusiasm for learning. So, how do you become involved? This is where I'm going to say to you, if you have your phone in your hand or if you're at your computer, I want you to go to the PTA website, is njpta.org/join. I want you to become a member of the PTA. It is usually $10 to join as an individual, and I believe it's $15 or $16 to join as a family. Join, because that is how you get the benefits of being a member of the PTA. If you're already a member, go to a meeting. I was just sitting here and I was looking at my email and a reminder popped up that tomorrow there's a PTA meeting at my son's school. Of course, I forgot to put it on my calendar, so I put it on my calendar and I'm going to join tomorrow. You have got to be in it to be involved in your student success. So go to the next meeting. Participate in a PTA event. PTAs have so many events. We just had a book fair at my son's school that the PTA hosted. We have dine-ins every month. So, on those nights that you don't feel like cooking, put the dine-in flyer that comes home in your child's backpack on the refrigerator and say, listen, that's a night I'm not going to cook. And we're going to whatever local eatery that they're having the dine-in at. And that's my night that I don't have to cook. Support the PTA events. And last but certainly not least, engage. Engage, sponsor, donate. PTAs have so many opportunities for parents to engage in their activities, from having teacher wish lists to hosting fundraisers like tricky trays and raffles and all types of things. And all of these things are to support our students and our students' success. So it is important for us to engage in that. And the PTA is one of the ways that we can engage. And I will now turn it over to Jeanette.
Thank you, Lanisha. Oh my goodness. I love that call to action. Before I get into upcoming events, I want to be mindful. I do see a hand raised by Christina Nar. If you have a question, now might be the right time to do that. You can go ahead and unmute yourself and ask the question before we close out the webinar. Christina? Okay. So being that Christina is unable to unmute, you certainly can pose your question in the chat. And, oh, that's okay. Your microphone's not working. So if you want to post a question in the chat, we'll do our very best to respond to you. In the meantime, I would like everyone to focus your attention on our upcoming event. We will have our final strand of our family engagement webinar series, which will be held next month. I can't even believe the year's about to be over, guys. But this is a really great topic, surviving the holiday season while strengthening family engagement. We are going most definitely have some really great information and content. So we encourage you to scan the QR code and register, and please share it with your friends, family members. Please spread the word because we really want to have a very strong attendance. So we look forward to seeing you next month. And this concludes the portion of our webinar. We want to take this opportunity to thank you for joining us, for taking time out of your day. We're especially grateful for our guest speakers, but we invite you to scan the QR code and please fill out the survey. As you know, your feedback is extremely vital for us to keep delivering these insightful webinars, just like the one that you attended today. Also, if you would like to receive a certificate of participation for this webinar, Please choose either yes or no when you're filling out the survey. Again, thank you so much for joining us. My apologies. I see in the chat that your mics are automatically muted, but again, please pose those questions in the chat and we will make our best effort to answer them via email. Thank you once again. Enjoy the rest of your week. Take care.